All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope you all are having a good morning. I've got something a little different today. This is going to be a video from Nonstop, and this one's called the 15 Best Defenders in NBA History. And I figure this is going to be a little interesting and a little controversial because defense is hard to gauge. Defense is one of those things that, like, if you don't apply the eye test to, and you just go off of stats, I think it's really unfair. So I'm curious how Nonstop is going to approach this. If it's just going to be all statistical things, you know, steals and blocks. I hope not, but hopefully they play into people who do the little things, like Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, and to be fair, even the guy I'm looking at right now, Draymond Green. Even though I'm not a fan of Draymond, but you know, there's a lot of players that do a lot of things that don't show up on a scorecard that, in my opinion, are some of the greatest defenders of all time. But yeah, as always, I'm going to link the original video down below if you want to watch it without my commentary. Everybody else, please leave this like a video. Wow, must be a first timer here. Please leave this video a like or just dislike it because I suck so bad at these intros. Let's go.
Draymond Green recently praised himself as the best defender to ever play, which caused a lot of turmoil in the NBA world. We decided to chime in and offer our take on Draymond's place among the all-time defensive greats and answer if he's even the best in today's game. Here are the 15 best defenders in NBA history, in no particular order.
Right now, I'll take Wemby over him.
Gary Payton. Other than MJ, Gary Payton is the only guard to win the Defensive Player of the Year award and the last guard to do it. Gary got nicknamed the Glove because of how close he stuck to his man. He was a defensive dynamite, and he routinely made opponents' lives miserable every time he decided to put down the clamps on somebody. Payton made every defensive first team from 1994 to 2002, and he's tied with MJ, Garnett, and Kobe for most first-team all-defense selections. Scottie Pippen.
Wow. I thought Hakeem would have been on that list, too. All right, I got no gripes with Gary Payton. What about you guys? Solid defender. Scottie Pippen. I'll just get it out of the way. I definitely have no gripes with Scottie Pippen being on this list. He did a lot on the defensive end.
In all the highlights, you never just saw me. You saw Scottie Pippen in every championship I won. Michael Jordan said in the first seconds of his Hall of Fame speech. It was really fair to say that, because Scottie was the perfect Robin to Michael's Batman.
Absolutely.
6'7" with long arms and extremely agile. Scottie would not only guard the best player on the opposing team, but also switch onto everybody else during the same play, possession after possession.
You know, I was just watching The Last Dance last night. I'm going through it all over again. And it was showing the 92 Olympics in Barcelona. And that first game against Croatia, because, you know, they have those hard feelings with Tony Kukoc at the time, because he was like the new golden child for Chicago. Seeing them take turns locking up Tony Kukoc between MJ and Pippen, God dang, man, it's disgusting. They didn't give him an inch to breathe.
From ball pressure, disrupting passes, taking charges, or blocking shots, you name it, Pippen did it on a high level.
Yep.
Scottie was the best perimeter player in the game during the 90s. He racked up 10 all-defensive selections, and he's top 7 all-time in steals.
All right, before he moves on, I modeled my defensive strategy after Scottie Pippen because I have very long arms. You know, we used to call me like gorilla arms back then. But yeah, very, very long arms, and I'm very quick to go for the steal or the block. So I use those arms to no end. And Scottie was like the perfect example of what to do in that situation when you have a body like that.
Ben Wallace. Big Ben's basketball journey is not similar to any other player on this list, considering he went undrafted in the 1996 NBA draft. Standing at 6'9", everybody always believed he was undersized for a center.
Yeah, that block is sick.
Considering he was never a good offensive player, he didn't get much playing opportunity early on. But that all changed when he got to Detroit in 2000. In 6 years with the Pistons, Wallace proved to be one of the toughest defensemen who ever played in the league, with 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards in a 6-year span. Dennis Rodman.
Ben Wallace is one of those cases of what you can do, even if you're undersized, if you're just willing to put in that nonstop effort. Dennis Rodman's another one. But Ben Wallace more successfully guarded Shaq, and that I think is his true legacy of somebody his size to be able. I mean, nobody can completely stop Shaq, but he came pretty damn close, man. Pretty damn close. Dennis Rodman also guarded Shaq when he had to, but he didn't have that extra muscle that Ben Wallace did. So he had to get a little more tricky with his methods on defending Shaq and frustrating him.
Dennis Rodman was a physical, annoying pest, always playing on the edge of a foul and a fight. He didn't score the ball, and he wasn't interested in being an offensive player. All he cared about was rebounding and defense.
Yeah, but in college, he averaged 20-something points a game. But when he got to the Pistons in the NBA, he saw his niche, which was like they need defense. So he just stepped in and provided defense and rebounding.
And he did those things to perfection. Rodman was a huge reason why Jordan couldn't get past the bad boy Pistons in the 80s.
Yep.
And why he won 3 championships after his first retirement. At 6'7", Rodman was incredibly strong and so well conditioned, and he would always give his best effort in guarding the best opponent's players. And he guarded everybody from Jordan and Karl Malone to even Shaq, and he was successful against all of them. The Worm made 7 All-Defensive First Teams with 2 Defensive of the Year awards, along with 7 rebounding titles. Dikembe Mutombo.
So far, I don't have any problems with anybody on this list.
Mount Mutombo didn't get his nickname because it was easy to score over it.
Yep.
You had to be a really high flyer to soar over that particular mountain of a man. And more often
And if the Cookie Monster voice ever retires, we're cool, man, because we got Dikembe, man.
than not, Dikembe would finger wag a big no-no in your face.
Yeah,
Mutombo was second on the all-time blocks list, behind only Hakeem Olajuwon. And he'd probably eclipse Hakeem if he started his NBA career earlier. Dikembe's NBA debut happened at the age of 25, 3 years later than Hakeem. Still, in his 10-year prime, Mutombo managed to win 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards, tied for most in NBA history. Tony Allen.
Okay, Tony Allen. It's funny, I would not have known about Tony Allen's great defensive ability if it wasn't for so many great players talking about him. Kobe Bryant was the first one that came to mind. Kevin Durant also did, and a couple others, where they don't even hesitate when they say who guarded you the best. They're like immediately Tony Allen.
Basketball court. Tony Allen was a dog, a junkyard dog who had attitude and who wouldn't let go ever. If you were his defensive assignment for the night, Tony would hound you, and probably bite you if it was allowed, just so you don't score on him. He wasn't an offensive threat, and his livelihood depended on his outstanding defense, and he played the heck out of it. He coined the term grit and grind, which became the mantra for his Grizzlies teams. And during that time, he made 6 all-defensive teams. But his biggest credentials came from the mouth of 2 of the best scorers to ever play. Both Kobe Bryant and Kevin Durant said that Tony Allen was the toughest defender they ever played against.
Sweet, I'm not just talking out of my ass.
And that's definitely saying something. Kawhi Leonard. There are not very few people that will rattle LeBron James when they're subbing in the game, but Kawhi was one of them.
Yeah, I'll consider Kawhi a part-time awesome defender. Because when he's there, he's badass. But he's rarely there.
He made a name for himself during the 2013 and 2014 NBA Finals, where he emerged as the LeBron stopper and earned the nickname the Claw, along with the Finals MVP trophy. With extraordinarily long arms and one of the biggest hands in NBA history, Kawhi often made other NBA players look like little children, as he would simply snatch the ball from their hands like it's nothing. Leonard made 6 all-defensive teams, with 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards in 2015 and 2016.
Oh, I forgot he won back-to-back. Yeah, man. He's one of those cases, if it wasn't for injuries, whatever the heck is going on with his body, no one will really know. No, I mean, other than his doctors and himself, nobody really knows what the heck is going on. Is he not wanting to play? Or is he really just messed up? Like physically just messed up, something's wrong. I don't know what it is, but dude, if this guy could have actually played out his career and played actual seasons of basketball, yeah, I think he would have been one of those cases. Like he could have been like top 20.
Kevin Garnett. Garnett
KG's
is a
monster. Yeah.
Who moved on the basketball floor like he was 6'5", and he could effectively guard all 5 positions. When he dropped his posterior in a basketball stance, he looked like some kind of alien with those freakishly long
I wouldn't want to approach that, dude. I mean, you're dribbling the ball up to court and this is waiting for you? Shoot. Yeah, a lot of his game was psychological. Like his intimidation factor, I'd be legit scared. Legit scared. Even if I was in like a crowded room and, if he looked at me like this, I think I'm about to die.
Extremities. KG was also one tough SOB.
Yeah.
When he played basketball, he'd enter another dimension that's fair to describe as crazy.
Good God.
Garnett wanted to kill.
Did he touch the glass with his left hand? Hold on.
He'd enter another dimension that's fair to describe.
Oh no, okay. He's pushing off. That's crazy. That's a crazy block.
Crazy. Garnett wanted to kill everybody who wasn't wearing the same jersey as he did.
Yeah.
And he was always extremely physical on the defensive end. A defensive Swiss Army knife, Kevin is top 20 all-time in both blocks and steals. He's made 12 all-defensive teams, tied for second most ever. And in 2008, he won his only Defensive Player of the Year award.
Yeah, that's an underrated guy. I'm glad he got his championship, but tell me one thing he can't do. Because the guy did it all. He even had a mid-range game. His jumper was awesome. He had a good post game. He dunk over anybody. Great layup game. He got tons of rebounds, boxed out the old-fashioned way. Tons of blocks, tons of steals. Intimidated the opposing team. He did it all, man.
Michael Jordan. Even though he's mostly known for his offensive dominance, Jordan was equally good on the other end of the floor.
Yep.
Michael was extremely fundamentally sound. He always had the correct hand in the passing lanes, and his footwork was phenomenal. On top of the fact he was an athletic demigod with a pit bull mentality. MJ led the league in steals 3 times, and is currently 3rd on the all-time steals list, and also an all-time blocks leader for a guard. Jordan made first-team all-defense, a record-tying 9 times, highlighted with the Defensive Player of the Year award in 1988. Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, and now Clutch Sports is running a campaign with, what's his name, that freaking weasel, Nick Wright, trying to say that he was an overrated defender and it was fixed that he got the Defensive Player of the Year and all that crap. And I'm just rolling my eyes over here going, just watch the guy play basketball. You'll see that he was a phenomenal defender. If he got a couple extra stats, like it was watered down or some shit, it doesn't matter. Watch him play. You see what he's doing. It's like a Kevin Garnett. I can care less what his steals numbers or block numbers are. Watch him play, and you can see that dude plays some defense. It's getting really lame. Actually, it's been really lame what the Clutch Sports group is trying to pull off. It's just embarrassing at this point. You could take away Jordan's Defensive Player of the Year. The guy's still the GOAT. It don't matter. But he earned it, so screw that. Kobe Bryant? Yep, I have him one notch below MJ. Great on-ball defender.
Bryant. Just like Michael Jordan, Kobe is much more known for his offense. But in his prime, Mamba was a spectacular defensive player. Strong, quick, and fundamentally sound. Bryant was always guarding the best opposing player in his early career, and he took great pride on that side of the ball.
Yep.
A basketball nerd at heart with a relentless attitude, Kobe wanted to be the best defensive player he could be, and he could shut down anybody when he wanted to. I still remember how perfectly Kobe played LeBron down the stretch of the 2013 All-Star Game.
Oh, man, we covered some of that a while back. That was awesome. That was awesome to see in an All-Star Game of all things. He shut down LeBron James.
Even though Kobe was 34 at the time, and LeBron was the best player in the game.
Look, he's talking trash too. He's talking trash to him. He's like, come on, man. Bring it. LeBron's probably pissed off, like, man, this is supposed to be an all-star game.
Locked him up and secured the W for the West, which tells you what kind of terrier he was on D. With 12 all-defensive selections, Mamba is tied with Garnett for the second most of all time. Draymond Green. What sets Draymond Green apart as a defender is his incredible IQ and knowing tendencies of the opposing coaches, as well as the players he's facing. Although Draymond is only 6'6", he's incredibly sturdy, and you'd probably push a fire hydrant easier than you'd push Dre out of position. He compensates for lack of height with a huge wingspan, which allowed the Warriors to play their death lineup with Green at the center. And Draymond is a big reason why every team in the league has started playing smaller guys at the 5. Apart from anticipation and great understanding of positioning and opponents' offensive schemes, Green's biggest assets are his incredible reflexes and his lateral quickness. He's among the fastest players in the league when it comes to switching on D, and only the quickest guys can beat Draymond to the rim and lay it down without being blocked. So far, he's made 5 All-Defensive teams, with 1 Defensive Player of the Year award in 2017. And regarding the saying that he's the best defender ever, I could agree that he made the most out of his 6'6", not overly athletic body, and that his ability to play a small ball center changed the game. But still, you can't teach height, and it's arguable if he is even the best defender in the game today, where athletic super freaks like Giannis, Rudy Gobert, or Ben Simmons reign supreme.
Ben Simmons? When's this video from? 3 years ago. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Draymond Green, all right. I'm going to detach emotionally from this because I don't personally like Draymond Green at all. However, I do notice whenever he's not playing, whenever he's suspended for being a dumbass, the Golden State Warriors struggle significantly. So he's very valuable on offense for things that aren't statistically accumulated. You know, his presence there somehow helps the spacing of the team and helps the offense flow. And defensively, he helps out a ton. So is he the best defender of all time? Hell no. But yeah, he is one of the. He's a very important defender, at least to this squad. To this, he's on the perfect team. He should never leave Golden State. As long as Steph and Steve Kerr are involved, he should never leave Golden State. So yes, he's a very valuable player. I just don't like the dude.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
Oh, hell yeah.
Michael Jordan picked Hakeem in his all-time starting 5, explaining that as much as he was good on offense with his dream shakes, that he was equally effective on defense. Hakeem is the only player on the top 10 all-time lists in both steals and blocks, leading the latter category with 500 blocks more than the next person on the list.
Yeah.
Hakeem was a lockdown defender because he was a center in the body of a guard, and he was strong and athletic enough to battle with Shaq down low, and yet mobile enough to successfully defend on the perimeter. Dream made 9 all-defensive teams and repeated as the depoy in 1993 and 1994.
Now, what to say about Hakeem? Monster in every category in the game. Yeah, I like how Jordan put it. Like, it's so obvious that's going to be his center because no other guy has dominated basically every category of the game like Hakeem Olajuwon. And he's not stat padding whatsoever. He's doing it with hard work. Did you guys watch that video from a couple weeks back now? Tracking the best blocker of all time? Because that was really fun.
Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard's career has fallen off dramatically since his back injury in 2011 and trade to the LA Lakers. Before that, he was one of the most dominant forces we've ever seen at the center position.
Yeah, he was.
In his Orlando days, Dwight really was a Superman, and he spent a lot of time flying through the air, either dunking everything in sight or blocking shots at the other end of the court.
Jesus.
In his prime, he was one of the most mobile and most athletic centers ever, which earned him 3 consecutive Defensive Player of the Year awards.
The guy would get up so high, he'd block with like his forearm sometimes.
Which earned him 3 consecutive Defensive Player, mobile and most athletic centers.
Like, he gets so high. Look at that. It's ridiculous. Kareem. All right.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
No arguments.
Most people remember Kareem as the balding center for the Showtime Lakers, not realizing that he was already past his prime at that point.
Yeah.
When he had a full head of hair, Kareem never averaged less than 3 blocks per game. And if the league counted blocks during his first 4 seasons, he would be the all-time leader, not just in points, but also in blocked shots. This could also be said for Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, who were the best defensive players of the 60s, but both have retired without officially notching a block or a steal in the NBA. In his prime, Kareem was extremely agile, and with such an advantage in size and length, he was one of the toughest players to score against. Jabbar finished his career with 4 blocking titles and 11 all-defensive selections. Tim?
Yeah. Wilt and Russell, unfortunately, I never got to watch those guys. Kareem, I got to watch him when he was the balding Kareem. So I started watching him in the mid 80s, and I got to watch the end of his career. So I never got to see like peak Kareem outside of like doing these videos with you guys and going back in time and checking his stuff. I never actually got to like experience it though. Like, apply the real eye test to Kareem. I wish I could. Tim Duncan. Man, I got nothing bad to say about Tim Duncan, and his defense was absolutely phenomenal. Even on people that were like twice his size.
Duncan. During his prime, the whole Spurs defensive strategy was to funnel guards and wings toward the middle, where Timothy Duncan would wait with his perfect positioning and a 7'5" wingspan, ready to deter any shot at the rim. Timmy's defense was flawless, and when he was still young enough, he could cover so much ground and turn any team into a top 10 defense by himself entirely. In the 2003 NBA Finals, Duncan averaged 5.3 blocks in 6 games against the Nets.
5.3 blocks. Good God.
And an absolute defensive masterpiece. He's the all-time NBA leader with 15 all-defensive selections. He's only one of 5 players that amassed over 3,000 career blocks, and it's really surprising that he never won the Defensive Player of the Year award.
Wow, interesting stat. He never won the Defensive Player of the Year. He was just solid every single year. Yeah, that's another guy. I got nothing bad to say about him. Even though he was kind of the enemy for against my Suns for years, I always watched him and kind of admired him. Same with Ginobili and same with Parker. It was hard for me to hate the Spurs because I just respected him so much. But anyways, guys, that was a cool vid. I'm kind of surprised. I don't have any arguments with any of the people that they listed. Are there people who are missing from the list? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's always going to be. Joe Dumars right off the top of my head. But there's other people, I'm sure. Yeah, let me know what you thought about this one. And since you guys are on the other end of this, and you were just watching, let me know who'd they miss that's obvious. We'll have a conversation about it down below. All right, everybody, I hope you had fun. Leave the video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want more. I will see you tonight for the After Dark episode. Thanks, everybody. Peace out and have a wonderful day.